Hi, I'm Margaret, and welcome to Garden School. We are into fall, and while we still have some nice weather, our vegetable gardening, our summer gardening is coming down to an end. And our perennials, our flower gardens are looking different. Some of them have been done for a long time. Some are still giving us some joy. But I wanted to talk a little bit about doing fall garden cleanup because fall is a long season. I mean, really, it's as long as winter, it's as long as spring, it's as long as summer is. But a lot of change happens during the fall. The leaves drop, of course, from the deciduous trees. A lot of perennials will die back and will be hit by frost and then die back. But then we have weather issues like windstorms and rainstorms where we are. Those things also affect our garden and our garden maintenance. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about just a couple principles in deciding how to do your fall garden cleanup and how to approach it. So let's go take a look at that.
So one of the things we could think about is the areas that are most impactful. For instance, a pathway. Is a pathway, maybe in the summer we allowed things to just spill into the pathway. We could maneuver around them. It was kind of fun to see that growth. But now as we're getting into fall, we may want to clear out these pathways. So I've got some sedum that's spilled out here into this walkway. I think maybe it would be a good idea for me to just relocate that to another area. Make my pathway nice and clean, make it broad enough to walk through. If you've got branches and things coming through that are extending into the sidewalk or into the walkway, then you may want to also just do a light pruning to scoot those back a little bit, make your walkway area safe. Another area you may want to think about is your entryway. Is it open? Is it clean enough? Is it accessible for visitors? And is it pleasant? So, whatever your idea of pleasant is, we all have different ideas, but make your entryway a pleasant and a safe entryway. I was looking at my sidewalk area where a lot of people walk by with their dogs and they're walking down to a little park, and I see that I've got a lot of things that have just come right down here onto the sidewalk. A lot of ajuga, some sedum. There was a lot of columbine that was just right up here against the edge of the sidewalk. In the summertime, maybe that's an okay thing. In the winter, fall and winter, maybe we need to have that cleaned up a little bit more. So doing some cleaning up, and as you find some extra plants, maybe you can pot them up or just relocate them or gift them to others. Now, my driveway area is an area that I want to keep a little bit neater and cleaner and maybe a little more appealing because it's what I see. Every time I come into, leave the house or come into the house, I see this. So I want to just make sure that this area here, for me, is going to be something that has a little bit of interest. And as things are dying back, I'm taking care of those things real quickly. Another thing that we might want to think about is what do we have in our garden right now that is a source of nourishment for wildlife. I still have salvias and some other things that the hummingbirds are coming to, so that's good. I should leave those up as long as I can because that's my goal, is to provide some nourishment for my local hummingbirds. Now, when it comes to things like Rudbeckia, these are starting to die back and bloom out a little bit, but the seed heads here look pretty nice actually as they persist during the fall and into the winter. And for a while, they will provide some nourishment for, well, while they're blooming, for bees and other nectar collecting insects. And then seeds perhaps for the birds as we get into the colder months. So this is my choice, to leave these up as they're just blooming out. Your choice could be to clean it up, say task done, check it off, and go on to another thing. So it's really personal preference. If you like to think about, providing something for the birds and the insects, and you might think about just looking at this in a little different way. Leaving those on might not be as neat as you wish, but they are beneficial. I've decided to leave my little calibrachoa and nasturtium baskets up since they're still blooming, and I kind of like to see this nice color over here. But any time is the right time to say they're done. I'm putting these things away. Perhaps a winter storm is coming and it's going to be windy and rainy, and you don't want to deal with it afterwards. Then go ahead and take care of it right now, or leave it up, and there will be another time when you can take care of it.
Another thing to think about when it comes to the fall garden cleanup is, well, how much time do I have? How much time do I have today or this week or weekend? How much time do I have before the first frost, when it's gonna really knock down a lot of the perennials? How much time do I have before those leaves are all gonna be down? So that is gonna be something you need to assess. The time that you have right now to do a task, the time that you're gonna have before, it's gonna be more miserable to do that task, when it's really chilly and wet. We don't like to do those tasks during those conditions. Sometimes we do have to do that. So just a couple things to think about. Think about what areas of access where you can walk, where someone, a guest, could walk well. If there's leaves on the patio, it's easy to sweep those off into a border where they can mulch as you're waiting for the rest of the leaves to fall. You don't have to wait for everything to fall. In fact, on a lawn, probably should address that before you get a really heavy and wet leaf cover on a lawn. Another thing to think about then is, what should I leave for wildlife? What do I want to leave for wildlife? Maybe it's time to just take it all down, mulch, and say goodnight until sometime in March. A lot of people do that. If you want to be a little more active about continuing to bring wildlife into your landscaping, then you're going to have a little bit more work for a longer period of time. Consider that. And also the neatness idea is, I'd say now's a great time to incorporate the 30-foot rule. Step back a little bit. What does it look like from that distance? Sometimes we do need to get close up to examine something and to really appreciate something. But a lot of times the 30-foot rule can be very, very helpful. And then another thing to think about is the time of what time do we have before we really should have things buttoned down and wound up and put away. And then your comfort level. Maybe you say, you know what, I don't do anything. I do the big cleanup in late winter or very early spring. Well, bless your heart. Go ahead and do that. It's perfectly okay. Just be okay with that. And if you say, I've got to clean it up all now, just be okay with that. If you want to be in the middle, be okay with that too. Find your own way on this and go for it. Well, I hope that you're able to do a little fall cleanup or plan for your fall cleanup. There's always more to learn in the garden. Bye-bye.